I didn't tip because my waiter didn't wait on me. Last Saturday night, my friend Kelly and I went to this new Italian place downtown. We'd been wanting to try it for weeks because everyone said their pasta was amazing. When we walked in, the hostess told us it would be about 20 minutes for a table. No big deal. So we grabbed drinks at the bar and waited. The bartender was this super friendly guy named Mike who kept us entertained with stories about weird customers while we sipped our wine. After about 30 minutes, Mike told us our table was ready and walked us over to this cozy booth in the corner. He handed us menus and said our server would be right over. We figured he was just being nice since we'd been chatting at the bar. 5 minutes later, Mike comes back with bread and takes our drink orders. Then he brings our drinks and asks if we're ready to order food. Kelly and I just assumed he was covering for a busy server or something. Restaurants get crazy on weekend nights. Mike took our order, brought our salads, checked on us during dinner, refilled our drinks, and even recommended the best dessert. The guy was amazing, funny, attentive, and clearly knew the menu inside and out. When we finished eating, Mike brought us the check with a big smile. The food was incredible, the service was perfect, and we'd had such a great time. I was already planning to leave a huge tip because Mike had made our night so special. That's when I looked at the receipt and saw something weird under server. It said Brandon, not Mike. I figured it was just a computer error, so I asked Mike about it when he came back. He looked confused and said, "Oh, Brandon's your actual server. I'm just the bartender." I asked why he'd been taking care of us all night if Brandon was our server. Mike laughed and said Brandon had been super busy, so he jumped in to help since we seemed cool. I looked around the restaurant and spotted this guy, Brandon, across the room. He was standing by the kitchen talking to another server, and I realized I'd never seen him once during our entire meal. Not when we sat down, not when we ordered, not even when we needed extra napkins. Mike had literally done everything while Brandon was doing whatever servers do when they're not serving. Yet the tip was automatically going to Brandon just because the computer said he was assigned to our table. I called Mike over and explained the situation. I told him it felt wrong to tip someone who hadn't done any work while the person who actually served us got nothing extra. Mike said that's just how restaurants work and that he splits tips with the bartenders anyway, but I wasn't having it. I asked to speak with the manager, who turned out to be this nice woman named Lisa. I explained everything that happened and asked if there was a way to make sure Mike got the tip instead of Brandon. Lisa looked genuinely surprised and said she had no idea Mike had been covering a table all night. She called both guys over and Brandon actually looked embarrassed when he realized what had happened. Turns out Brandon had gotten completely overwhelmed with his other tables and just forgot about us entirely. He'd been hoping we wouldn't notice since the restaurant was so busy. When Mike saw us sitting there with no service, he stepped in without telling anyone. Lisa immediately switched our check so Mike would get the tip. She also gave us a $50 gift card for the confusion and said she needed to have a serious talk with Brandon about abandoning his tables. I left Mike a 40% tip because he'd gone above and beyond his job to take care of us. Brandon got exactly what he deserved for his service. Nothing. 3 weeks later, Kelly and I went back to the same restaurant. Mike remembered us immediately and made sure we got his section this time. Apparently, Brandon had been fired the week after our visit for doing the same thing to other customers. Mike told us he'd gotten promoted to head bartender, partly because of what happened that night. The manager realized he was the kind of employee who actually cared about customers having a good experience. We've been regulars ever since, and Mike always takes amazing care of us.